A healthy relationship needs effort, understanding, and compromise from both people in the relationship. Real relationships are not like fairy tales or movies. It is okay to have standards. It is also important to stay realistic about what a relationship can be. Both partners in the relationship should feel happy and complete on their own, because a relationship should add joy to life, is not the source of happiness in life. Today, women have freedom to focus on careers, personal growth, and their own goals. They still want a partner who is loving, honest, respectful, and treats them as an equal in the relationship. Dr. Esther Perel, the world psychotherapist who has spent decades studying human connection, says something that might change your life. She says that the quality of your relationships depends entirely on the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. You cannot expect someone else to make you feel secure if you're constantly abandoning yourself in the relationship. You cannot expect someone else to respect your boundaries if you do not even know where they are in the relationship. So let us talk about what you need in a relationship. Not what the movies told you to want in a relationship. Not what your friends think you should look for in a relationship. What psychologists, researchers, and decades of relationship science have proven actually creates lasting, healthy, beautiful love in a relationship. These are the 8 traits every woman needs in a relationship. I need you to listen with an open heart, because chances are you have been accepting less than this for far too long in your relationship. The first trait, kindness that runs deeper than politeness. Let me describe something to you. Have you ever been on a date with a man who's perfectly polite to you? He opens the door for you. He pulls out your chair for you. He says please, thank you to you. Then he is rude to the waiter. He snaps at the bartender. He makes a comment about the way someone else looks. He laughs at a stranger's expense. Something inside you shrinks. You feel it, do you not? That small, quiet alarm bell. Because you know on some level that his politeness is performance. His cruelty to others? That is real. Dr. John Gottman, the psychologist who could predict divorce with over 90% accuracy just by watching a couple argue for 15 minutes, discovered something fascinating. The couples who lasted were not the ones who never fought. They were the ones who were kind, not just to each other in the relationship. In general, kindness was the greatest predictor of relationship success. Here is what modern research has proven that might surprise you. Studies have shown that women actually find altruistic men more physically attractive. That is right. Compassion literally makes a man more handsome to you. When you see a man being gentle with a child patient, with a person generous with a stranger, your brain releases chemicals that make him look better. This is not poetry. This is biology. Dr. David Buss, a leading psychologist at the University of Texas, has spent decades studying what women want across 37 different cultures. The answer consistently is not money, not status. It is kindness. It is generosity. It is a man who treats people well, not because he wants something, but because that is who he is. So here's your first test. Watch how he treats people who can do nothing for him. Watch how he talks about his mother. Watch how he behaves in traffic, in lines and crowds. Because a man who is only kind to you is not actually kind. He is just trying to impress you. Eventually his real self will show up. Believe in the time. The second trait, confidence without arrogance. There's a line. It is a very thin line. On one side is confidence. On the side is arrogance. Every woman has been trapped on the wrong side of that line at least once. Let me explain the difference. Confidence says, I am enough. Arrogance says, I am better than you. Confidence is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It does not need to put others down, feel tall. Arrogance is loud. It is insecure, pretending to be secure. It is a man who interrupts you, who talks over you, who makes every conversation about himself because he is terrified of being seen as small. Dr. Carol Dweck, the Stanford psychologist who revolutionized our understanding of mindset, talks about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. An arrogant man has a fixed mindset. He believes he is already great. He does not need to learn. He does not need to grow. He does not need to listen to you, because what could you possibly teach him? A confident man has a growth mindset. He knows he is not perfect. He is curious. He asks questions. He admits when he is wrong. He is not threatened by your success. He is not jealous of your light. He celebrates you because he is secure enough to know that your shine does not dim his. Think about the men you have known, the ones who were truly confident. They did not need to tell you how money they made. They did not need to name drop. They did not need to control where you went or who you talked to. They walked into a room, took up exactly the right amount of space. Not too little, not too much, just enough. That is what you are looking for. A man who stands tall but knows how to bend. A man who leads but knows how to follow. A man whose ego is not made of glass, so you do not have to walk on eggshells to avoid breaking him. The third trait, emotional intelligence that feels like safety. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you cried in front of a man and felt completely safe doing it? Not judged, not rushed, not made to feel like your tears were an inconvenience. When did you last share a fear, a shame, a vulnerability, and watch him lean in instead of pulling away? Dr. Daniel Goleman, who literally wrote the book on emotional intelligence, defines it as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions while also recognizing, understanding, and influencing the emotions of others. Let me translate that into real life. Emotional intelligence means he can name what he is feeling. He can say, "I'm anxious about this presentation tomorrow," of just being irritable all night. He can say, "I felt hurt when you said that," of giving you the silent treatment for 3 days. It also means he can hold space for your feelings. He does not try to fix you. He does not tell you to calm down. He does not say, "You're being crazy." He says, "Tell me." He says, "I am here." He says, "That sounds hard." Dr. Sue Johnson, who created emotionally focused therapy, says that love is not about gestures. Love is about moments of responsiveness. She calls this engagement. When you reach for him with a feeling, does he reach back? Does he turn away? You need a man who has done the work. A man who is not afraid of therapy. A man who can say the words, "I was wrong. I am sorry and I need help." Because life is hard. Life will break you both at times. If he cannot hold your emotions, you will end up holding everything alone. That is not a partnership. That is a prison. The fourth trait, honesty that feels like solid ground. Here is something nobody tells you about love. It is not the fights that destroy relationships. It is not the disagreements about money or family or where to spend the holidays. What destroys relationships is betrayal. Betrayal does not always look like infidelity. Sometimes betrayal looks like a lie, a hidden phone, a missing piece of the truth. Dr. Bella DePaulo, a psychologist who has studied lying for decades, found that people lie in 1 out of every 5 social interactions. Here's the thing. In relationships, that number drops dramatically because trust is not built in moments. Trust is built in once. It is built every time he says he will call. He actually calls. Every time he tells the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Every time he is the person in private that he is in public. You need a man who does not have a life. A man whose phone is not a vault. A man who does not make you feel like a detective in your relationship. Because that feeling, that sinking feeling of not knowing if you can believe what he says, that will eat your soul alive. Dr. Brené Brown says that trust is not built by promises. It is built by consistent choices. She calls it the marble jar theory. Every time he shows up, every time he tells the truth, every time he keeps his word, he puts a marble in the jar. Every time he lies, every time he hides something, every time he makes you question reality, he takes marbles out. And when the jar is empty, there is no getting it back. You deserve a man whose word means something. A man who does not make you guess. A man whose honesty is so steady that you never have to wonder. Because that is not a standard. That is the minimum. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. The fifth trait, affection that does not have an agenda. You need a man who shows affection without expecting anything in return. A man who holds your hand because he wants to, not because he wants something from you. A man who gives you hugs because he cares about you, not because he's trying to get you to do something for him. This kind of affection makes you feel safe and loved in the relationship. You feel like you can be yourself around him without fear of judgment. You feel like you can trust him with your emotions and your heart. A man who shows affection without an agenda is a man who's confident in himself and in the relationship. He's not trying to manipulate you or control you. He is simply showing you that he cares about you and values you as a person. This kind of affection is essential in a relationship. It helps to build trust and intimacy. It makes you feel like you are in a partnership with someone who truly cares about you. So, look for a man who shows affection without expecting anything in return. Look for a man who's kind and generous and who values you as a person. This is the kind of man who will make you feel loved and appreciated in a relationship. I need you to listen to this carefully. Affection is not something you trade for something. It is not something a man uses to get something from you. Affection is what makes you feel safe. It is when someone holds your hand just because. It is a kiss on the forehead when you're not expecting it. It is when he pulls you close while he is sleeping because his body misses you. Dr. Gary Chapman talks about how people show love through touch. What people often miss is that physical touch is not just about sex. For women, it is the non-sexual touch that really helps build a connection with someone. When a man puts his hand on your lower back as you walk through a crowd, it says something. When his fingers touch your arm while you watch a movie, it says something. When his leg touches yours under the dinner table, it says something. These small touches say, I am here with you. You're not alone. Sometimes men only touch you when they want something. You can feel the difference. It feels desperate. It feels like they have an agenda. It does not feel like love. It feels like they're hungry for your body. They do not care about your heart. Being touched by someone who's hungry for your body but does not care about your heart is a kind of loneliness that is worse than being alone. Dr. Helen Fisher says that touch releases a hormone that makes you feel connected to someone. This hormone does not care if the person is good for you or not. So, you can become attached to someone who's not capable of loving you. That is why affection without safety is so dangerous. You need a man whose touch says, I see you now, I want you. You need a man who can hold you without expecting anything in return. Because that is what real intimacy looks like. It is not about getting something. It is about being with someone. The sixth trait, independence that gives you room to breathe. Let me tell you about a woman. She is smart and beautiful. She has friends and hobbies and a career she loves. Then she meets a man. Slowly, she starts to lose herself. She stops seeing her friends because he gets jealous. She stops doing yoga because he wants to spend every evening. She stops pursuing her art because he says it takes time away from them. Then one day, she realizes she has disappeared. She's not a person anymore. She is an extension of him. She is suffocating. Dr. Terry Orbich found that one of the predictors of relationship happiness is how well couples balance time together and time apart. She calls this the independence-interdependence balance. A man who cannot be alone is a man who will drain you. A man who has no friends, no hobbies, and no life outside of you will eventually make his happiness your job. That is a job he did not apply for. You need a man who has his passions and friendships and goals. Not because he does not love you, because he is a whole person, and two whole people coming together is a partnership. Two half people clinging to each other is a hostage situation. Dr. Scott Stanley talks about the difference between sliding and deciding. Couples who last make conscious decisions to be together. They do not just slide into codependence because it is easier. They choose each other every day. They also choose themselves. Do not be afraid of a man who has a life. Be afraid of a man who expects you to be his life. Because that is not love. That is consumption. The seventh trait, stability that feels like a home, not a cage. When I say stability, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about stability, dependability, consistency, the feeling that you can count on him not because he is perfect, because he is steady. Dr. Amir Levine explains that every person has an attachment style. Attached people are like anchors. They do not swing wildly between hot and cold. They do not disappear for 3 days, then come back like nothing happened. What research has proven is that women do not need a man to support them financially anymore. What women do need is a man who is reliable. A man who says what he means and means what he says. A man who does not run away when things get hard. Dr. John Gottman found that one of the damaging behaviors in relationships is when one partner consistently avoids conflict or shuts down during arguments. When this happens, the other partner learns to stop reaching out. Once that happens, the relationship is already over. You need a man who can handle storms, not a man who creates them, not a man who runs from them, a man who stands next to you with an umbrella and says, "We will get through this together." That is stability. That is what safety feels like. You deserve nothing less. The 8th trait, shared values that point in the same direction. You can love someone, still not be right for each other. This is a lesson, because love is not enough. Attraction is not enough. Chemistry is not enough. If you're walking in directions, it does not matter how tightly you hold hands. You will eventually have to let go. Dr. Robert Sternberg says that real love requires 3 things: intimacy, passion, and commitment. Commitment is not just deciding to stay. Commitment is agreeing on where you're going. You need to ask yourself the questions early. Not because you want to scare him, because you want to save yourself from a future of compromise so deep that you lose yourself entirely. Shared values are not about control. They are about clarity, knowing what matters to you, finding someone who matters the things, building a life that honors both of your hearts, the truth you have been avoiding. So here we are, 8 traits: kindness, confidence, emotional intelligence, honesty, affection, independence, stability, and shared values. Maybe you're thinking, is that really so much to ask? The answer is no. It is not much. It is exactly enough. Here is the harder question. Do you have these things to offer in return? Because love is not a shopping list. You do not get to demand these qualities from a man while offering nothing back. A relationship is a mirror. You will attract someone who matches the energy you put out. Dr. Brené Brown says it best. You cannot give people what you do not have. You cannot attract a man with intelligence if you have not done your own emotional work. You cannot demand independence while being terrified of being alone. You cannot ask for honesty while hiding parts of yourself. The important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. The more whole you become on your own, the less tolerance you will have for someone who treats you like you are half of something. You will stop accepting breadcrumbs because you know what a full meal looks like. You will stop begging for attention because you know your worth does not require begging. You will stop settling for potential because you have finally realized that potential is not a promise. Final thoughts. You're not asking for much. You have been asking the people. The right man will not make you feel needy for wanting connection. He will not make you feel crazy for needing honesty. He will not make you feel dramatic for wanting affection. The right man will meet you where you are and walk beside you. The right man will not walk ahead of you, or behind you. The right man will walk beside you. Until the right man arrives, you build a life so beautiful that anyone who enters it has to be worthy of it. You build friendships that fill your heart with love and support. You build a career that challenges you and helps you grow. You build hobbies that light you up and make you happy. You build a home that feels like peace, a home that's your own sanctuary. You become the kind of woman who does not need a man to complete her, the kind of woman who's already complete, the kind of woman who is happy with herself. That is the secret that no fairy tale ever taught you. The prince does not save the princess saves herself. The princess becomes an independent woman. Then the prince gets the incredible honor of loving her, loving the kind of woman who is already complete. Do not settle for less than what you deserve. Not because you are demanding, because you deserve a love that does not require you to shrink, a love that sees all of you, the messy, complicated, beautiful, brilliant you. You deserve a love that loves you for who you're, a love that does not try to change you. You will find this kind of love, or rather this kind of love will find you when you are ready, when you stop looking for someone to rescue you and start looking for someone to walk with you, someone to walk beside you. You have got this. You are strong and capable. Your heart is not broken. It is just waking up the right man will help your heart wake up. Waking up hurts, but on the other side of that pain is something so much better than what you left behind, something beautiful and amazing. Trust yourself and go find the love you actually deserve, the love that you have always wanted, the love that will make you happy.